Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 20th of September. It's a Friday. It's just slightly after 6 p.m. where we go live every week with a weekly roundup. And I have to tell you, not only have I missed you guys this week, even though I did do a B video and Patriot Gallery did, I think, 2 shows. You guys have a lot to catch up on. There's so much news. We haven't done news. I'm like, this is crazy.
I don't even know how we're going to pack it all in.
But we are going to pack it in that you want to do. Then that is all, that you feel guilty for something natural inside of you. You know, these kids are told, however you feel, if you're a homosexual, trans, or whatever your gender is, whatever you feel inside, you need to own that and hone it. And there's nothing wrong with your feelings. Well, what if your feelings inside of you tell you, I need to have kids? Yeah. Now you're being told that you have to squash that for the greater good, okay? And so we have this double standard going on, and that's very confusing for kids to process when they're being told, express yourself, go with your feelings, repress yourself, squash your feelings on 2 different sides, and the mental instability that happens there is so dangerous. And then they have self-guilt for even being alive.
This young man who we interviewed is just like these climate protesters. He told us with a straight face, and I didn't know they actually believe this, we're going to die in 12 years. And then we had a conversation with him afterwards.
That scrub the air and scrub the smoke and put out oxygen.
We're not against that.
And then take and make more electric cars and not have them 10 times more powerful.
Did you know that it takes
expensive?
It takes the same thing to make a lot of electricity is made. And that electric cars aren't saving the planet, and they aren't committing less CO2 because the CO2 it takes to make an electric car offsets the CO2 that electric car doesn't put out.
The CO2 problem.
So what about going back to horses and buggies? Would you be okay with that?
They wouldn't be.
Would you give up your iPhone? Would you give up your iPhone to save yourself for 12 years? You're going to die in 12 years, so if you give up your iPhone and we give up all these wonderful things, then we can save ourselves.
It's not going to happen. We won't be giving up our things because nobody will.
So it's kind of like, we're darned if we do, darned if we don't. But so I guess it's not Trump's fault, right? Because nobody's going to give up these things.
The thing is, we should recycle. We should try and reuse everything that we can.
I'm with you on that. We do that at our own house.
I have a big recycling tote that I put everything in.
Keep doing it. That's so good.
I have a big recycling tote. Saving the planet.
But things like as many cars that we have on the road, like semi-trucks, airplanes, things like that.
Right, but if you don't farm your own food, then the semi-trucks have to be there in order to get the food to the grocery store where you go and buy it.
Land is not able to be farmed on because it is not reliable
we have an acre, and we grow almost all of our own food on our...
I don't even know where he gets this idea that some land is not able to be farmed. He's never probably grown anything a day in his life. He says some land isn't able to be farmed because it's not reliable enough. I'm not sure where he's getting that information.
1 acre?
Your land. Some people do not have access to that land.
Okay, so you make a change in your life because you're not going to be here in 12 years. So you should be encouraging.
But if everybody makes that change in their life, then there will be no more land to go around.
There's plenty.
Go ahead.
No, I can't. It's insanity. He literally says there won't be enough land. There is so much land. And so it's boggling my mind that the brainwashing that has happened in these children where they're told that there's not enough land, and yet in order to reclaim our planet, everybody does need to start growing their own. And guess what? Even if you don't have access to land, you can grow things on a balcony.
I know. Yeah.
Of land for everyone. Every American could fit in one city in Florida.
There is over 7.2 billion people on this planet.
And there's enough room if we all had small community farms. At least 5 acres. Do you know how much land is in the West? Did you know our government has not unleashed about 80% of the West could be opened up, but it's federal?
But it's already owned.
By the federal government. Did you know that it's illegal by the Constitution for the federal government to own land, and so they shouldn't even own it?
Yeah, but that was their choice.
That was the government's choice?
Yeah, that was the government's choice. The government does what it wants to.
Listen,
Did you know the government's supposed to be us?
Okay.
The people?
I am so glad that you talked to us. I want you to keep farming, and I want you to have a good life. But I want you to think about the fact that you have an iPhone and all these things because of CO2.
We're willing to give that up and go back to porta potties, man. That's what our channel's about. But you guys, who
we're a homesteading.
aren't willing to give in.
We're a pro-Trump homesteading.
Things like that, then we're gonna go back to the Stone Age, and then we'll have to restart all over again.
The Stone Age, it's actually a pretty nice life to homestead and live off the grid.
Have the medicines that have saved many of lives,
And that are also killing people too, like vaccines.
please tell me you're not one of those people that are.
Oh, that's us.
We are, because we have friends who have had vaccine damage on their kids. We've seen the proof. It's not
So now
efficient.
we can't go into the vaccine argument, Leah. That's totally beyond what we're
But
trying
that's
to do.
what I wanted to show you guys, that these kids, wherever you actually give them a real solution, they say,
Right.
well, we can't do that.
Right.
We can't do that. We can't do that.
Well, and what you missed was one part where he says, "But I don't want to." What if you don't want to do it?
Right.
It's like, okay, so what if people don't want to give up their things that you're trying to tell them to give up?
Right.
Right? If you need to be able to put your money where your mouth is, and these kids, it just goes to prove that they aren't given all of the information. It's like I go back to David Barton talking about how kids used to be taught education from a standpoint where they could debate both sides of an argument, and it teaches them to think and to process what makes this side of the argument right. I could argue his side better than he can, even if I don't believe it, because I understand the processes of it. And that's the scary part, that these kids have no idea what they're saying or doing.
Are you guys ready for a commercial break?
We are ready for a commercial break. Let's break it down.
So this just happened in Woodfield. It looks like in Chicago, a suburb of Chicago. Some guy decided that he was going to drive his SUV through a mall.
I thought we were going to start off.
Yo, this is not happening right now. What the fuck?
Okay, bad language.
What the fuck?
Well, you can kind of hear the people and the tires screeching.
Okay, but what was the point, though? Did we know why?
We know he's in custody.
That's it.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Beta wants to take your guns. And I say...
Is this in Texas?
No. This is Chicago.
Okay. Yeah, we could mute it. It's not really worth it.
So, where did it go? Okay, so, police respond to Woodfield Mall in Schaumburg. Minor injuries reported. One person is in custody after an SUV crashed into a Sears. What's playing, Michelle?
The comfort of a Casper mattress works for every kind of...
It's an ad here. That's nice. I'm going to turn this down here so it can go like that.
So we're in Illinois.
We're in Illinois. And, yeah, so here we have...
Watch Judy Sue and Rob Elgas on ABC 7 Eyewitness News at 4.
And Rob.
Alan, the man being questioned by police at this hour, will turn 23 years old next month, has some kind of health condition, according to his father, a condition that the father says requires medicine. The man in custody is from northwest suburban Palatine, just north of Woodfield Mall. Schaumburg police calling him a subject of their investigation, not a suspect. He's now being questioned at their police headquarters. I spoke with the young man's father about a half hour ago as he was arriving at the police station, and he said bringing his son his medicine, but he didn't explain what his son was being treated for. No charges have been announced by police. The 911 call to...
So, come on, you heavy through the mall, and I thought that I would share that with you guys as part of our commercial break. And, right through a Sears.
Oh, Sears is already having so much trouble anyway. And, okay, so it is worth obviously noting that this happened.
He went all the way straight through, passed through the mall.
Only because we've already had actual terror attacks with people with vehicles. So I would imagine if you're in that situation, you would be thinking terror attacks. You would be thinking this is just a mentally deranged person driving to the mall that needs medicine.
So one of the reasons I really shared that is because that vehicles are weapons.
Yeah. On Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Roughly. So follow us on Instagram.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be so
exciting.
much fun. We're gonna post so
place
much narcissistic selfies. You won't even know what to do with
be
it.
like us
I'm gonna
everywhere we
carry
go.
around a makeup bag so that you don't have to see the haggy old face with no makeup.
We're gonna be the
Take
selfiest
pictures
selfiers
of all
ever.
of our food. We're gonna take pictures of everywhere we go. We're gonna just be picture maniacs because that's what Instagram is all about. Narcissism on steroids.
Maybe that's why we haven't joined it yet. Well, we have now. But... All right, you guys, we love you. God loves you. God bless. Remember, it is not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. And we'll see you back on Sunday. God bless.
Shine, Jesus, shine.
I was cold.